the Stadium Journey podcast. Thanks for joining us tonight. You can find all of our 2,500 stadium reviews, news items, and other featured stories on the website, stadiumjourney.com. And please connect with us on all of our social media channels. We are at Stadium Journey. Like, comment, share everywhere. You can find audio versions of the Stadium Journey podcast by searching HIAC Talk Radio Network on whatever podcast app you use, or on Spotify, or on Apple, or on a bunch of other places Dan has added recently. It's so exciting. Our video simulcast of the podcast can be found on our YouTube page. Those are all in one convenient location for you. And if you're looking for our classic back catalog, that can still be found at vocnation.com. And we record every other Tuesday night. Yes, it is Tuesday. I don't know where I am right now. But every other Tuesday night at 8 Eastern, you can find us at danlaw.tv. So let me take 1 minute and introduce our starting lineup. Dave Cotney is with us. Follow him on Twitter at Profan9. Mark Viquez can be found not driving his car at Ballpark Hunter. Dan Colachico, the other guy, is here. You can follow him at DanLaw83. And I am Paul Baker. You can follow me at PuckmanRI. And tonight we are thrilled to be joined by Jayson Williams. Jayson and his wife Paula are the hosts of the Vegas Fever podcast. And Jayson also writes about UNLV basketball for the Mountain West Wire. Jayson, welcome.
Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
Oh, no, we're excited. We've been having, we like to dedicate episodes to certain cities every once in a while. And Vegas has been on our radar for a long time. So we're glad that you were able to come and join us tonight.
Always, guys. It's a hot market, so we're ready.
Yeah, and that's how I wanted to start. For years and years, I'm a little bit older than everybody else in the panel. Vegas was like, nope, don't touch it. Don't touch it. You can't have a team. Can't have a team in Vegas. Mark is obviously on a delay right now. But that's changing. I mean, with first the Golden Knights and now the Raiders, Vegas is the hot place to be right now.
Yeah, absolutely it is. It's really interesting. For many, many years, I was born in the late 80s, and up until about, the right before the time the Golden Knights were granted the expansion team, Vegas was kind of that, it was kind of that secret that nobody wanted to talk about sports-wise. And they were always flirted with major league-wise by all the different professional leagues. What's changed about Vegas is that everybody has learned that if you embrace the town and everything that comes with it in terms of its gambling, and it's honestly, Vegas is is the safest place to gamble. Nothing out of the ordinary happens in Vegas gambling wise that isn't caught, because it's regulated and there are a billion eyes watching it. It was always that dirty secret that was flirted with. Once you embrace that, like Bill Foley did to bring in the Vegas Golden Knights, and Mark Davis to bring over the Raiders, and other leagues are flirting with it currently, you embrace it, and it's really good for business, because the NFL and the NHL and even the NBA, Major League Baseball, are bringing in people, and they're actually embracing the gambling aspect of it, where you're going to see mobile sports books all over the place. There's actually, you're able to pull up a sports book on your phone inside of Allegiant Stadium, inside of T-Mobile Arena, and bet on games. And I think it's wonderful. I always wanted a professional team. For me, it was always UNLV. UNLV men's basketball was everything to me. I was not even 2 years old when they won the national championship, and not even 3 years old when we went to the Final Four twice. So I became a really big fan when the Runner Rebels made their 1998 WAC tournament run with Tyrone Nesby. Billy Bano was the coach. They had Kaz Kumbala. They had Mark Dickel. They had an amazing team. That captivated me, and I was always a Runner Rebel fan. I'll always bleed that Runner Rebel red. The Golden Knights changed the way that everything is looked in Vegas, and they took a gamble. They took a gamble that was well worth it, and it changed everything, because within the next few years, you're going to have everything, all the major leagues there.
Do you think, I think one of the reasons why the gambling has been accepted is that, to me, it seems like ownership across the board has kind of come up to that revenue wall, where geez, the
Right.
player salaries are still going up and up and up and up.
Mhm.
And we're having a hard time finding a way to bleed any more money out of anyone. So let's get into this legalized gambling thing. This let's bring the gambling into our sport as much as possible. Do you think Vegas gets the big hug if ownership of major sports does not run into that kind of revenue wall?
It's really interesting when they had the vote to bring the Raiders to Vegas. There was only one team, one owner that did not want the Raiders in Vegas. That did not want the NFL in Vegas, and that is the Miami Dolphins owner, whoever that is. I don't have his name off the top of my head. You guys probably know it.
Was it Dave?
Stephen Ross.
Right. So he didn't want the NFL in Vegas, and he was the only one. The vote passed by leaps and bounds further than anybody ever thought. I think with revenue always on the up and up in all sports, I think that Vegas gets the hug. People want Vegas. It's not dirty anymore. It's sexy, and people want it. And you're going to see. I feel like, in my opinion, the Major League Soccer is going to be your next. From everything that I'm hearing, Major League Soccer is the next sport, and Major League Baseball probably isn't far behind, whether it's the Oakland Athletics or other. And then I think the NBA. I think the NBA should have been behind the NHL, if you really ask me. There's potential to build an arena on the north end of the strip, which we can get into if you wanted to, which has been on the plans for over 10 years by a very rich man in Las Vegas. They haven't been able to get that built, but they do have all the funding to do so. I thought the NBA, and if it wasn't for the recession, I thought they might have been first or even second behind the Golden Knights, but a lot of stuff has happened. But I don't think revenue, a wall is really going to stick Vegas in the corner. I think that all leagues embrace it.
Another arena in Vegas, because what are we going for one per 10? One arena per 10 residents? Or
It's really interesting. T-Mobile Arena was built it was built 50-50 by AEG and MGM. They 50-50 the property. They built it for NBA and NHL. However, the NBA and the NHL also like to have their own arenas going forward. A lot of NHL teams and NBA teams split, but the NHL really wants their own thing. The Golden Knights want their own building. They play basketball games, are obviously, with UNLV actually participating in a tournament in November. And they also have the Pac-12 tournament at T-Mobile Arena. But it's called the AllNet, ALLNET Arena, and it's been on the planning stages for almost 10 years. Jackie Robinson, who played for Jerry Tarkanian in the 1970s on the Hardway 8 team, he's a big businessman in Vegas, and he's got the money, he's got the funding, and it's going to be a whole complex of like dining, entertainment, and an arena, about 20,000 seats. That's where the NBA is going to go if they're going to go to Vegas. And that's going to be 4 or 5 years down the road. That's why I say last, because I feel like the MLS is in the next few months to a year, MLS is going to announce their bid, because the MLS recently had a city, I forget off the top of my head, pull out. So Sacramento. So Vegas is ready. And that's going to be your next team, MLS wise. And then Major League Baseball probably will enter as well.
So would this be a replacement for the Thomas and Mack? Or
it would be
UNLV do their own thing and the NBA do their own thing? And
well, the Thomas and Mack is it's almost a 40-year building. It's 38 years old, opened in November 1983. And so the Thomas and Mack it's been redone a few times. But UNLV is going to need a new building. I think there has been no mention of UNLV going to that building. It's strictly aimed at pulling in an NBA franchise at this time.
Interesting. Let's talk. You've got me really intrigued now with the Major League Baseball. I mean, it's always been out there. So the Aviators, how much money did they just spend on a brand new minor league ballpark in Henderson?
It's in the upper millions. It was built, and it's a beautiful facility, a facility that could house the Oakland Athletics or other, which that is the AAA franchise of the Oakland A's. It's a beautiful ballpark that franchise deserved, because if you think about it, that's the oldest professional franchise in Las Vegas. They've stayed, and they've been around. I believe it's 83, 83 or 84. They've been around, and it was owed to them. And they've done, and this has been their second or third year there, and they've been pretty good. 10 to 11,000 seats is what you can fit. And if you think about it, Oakland doesn't get much more fans than 10 to 11,000 anyway. So the lease in Oakland expires in 2024. So if they're not able to get back to the table in Northern California and make a deal happen, you could see potentially in the next year or two the A's take that same jump. And I bet you that their ownership group has talked to Mark Davis, because if you talk to Mark Davis, you absolutely know how to, besides the public money aspect, which the Oakland A's are not going to get, you know how to maneuver a relocation bid, because he did it quite well. So I think that they've been talking, but the Athletics or whoever could play in that ballpark until one is built for them.
Okay, that was going to be my follow-up question. Were they going to make that their permanent home and upgrade it to major league standards, or it would be more? You're saying it'd be more of a temporary thing.
That's temporary. The Oakland A's after the season are looking to narrow down their 12 choices to 3 or 4 locations, and because they want to get done with the regular season, which has a few games left, they want to get done with October playoff baseball, which is the best time of year. And then they can focus on what they're doing in Vegas. And the 3 sites that, if you think about it, if you guys are familiar with Vegas, you have the old Cashman Field site, which is where the Aviators played when they were the Stars and the 51s. They would tear down
major league
whole
games.
Area. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. They have hosted major league games there at Cashman.
Yes, so the A's played a few games in the '90s there when the Coliseum was being redone.
I was actually at one of the games, '96, but I think that was more of a spring training facility. And you're right, that Cashman Field was built in 1983, and the Aviators led all of minor league baseball in attendance in 2019. So the city really embraced that big time. So
it's been fantastic.
It's almost bizarre that they've taken this, because for decades, Vegas was the affiliate outpost. They were the were the last, like, if you were left standing after the minor league dance, like, you ended up going to Vegas. I mean, the Jays were there. I think the Mets were there.
The Mets were there.
Yeah.
Yes,
it's like,
they were.
Oh my gosh, I lost my affiliate that was close, and now I have to go to Vegas.
Yep.
Well,
that's right.
I could tell you this. I remember my brother used to live in Vegas. I actually was accepted to UNLV. That was like my goal, was to become a running Rebel. And you're right, Vegas changed, because back then it had a lot of minor league teams coming and going. And it was a city where, we can't put a team here, and the population isn't there, and it's not going to support it because of the gambling. And now you're right, it's a sexy city. And I've seen the city change from 1993, and I was there in 2017. And I was like, oh my God, this city is just gorgeous. It's beautiful now. It's more than just gambling. It's all about entertainment. But my question is, can they support all 4 teams?
I feel that Vegas can. Vegas has 2.5 million people there. And in the 90s, it was the fastest growing city in America. And
That's true. I
mean, nobody paid it any attention. Every fan base has their own different select set of fans, if you think about it. So you have 18,500 at T-Mobile Arena. Right after, and they just got 17.5 for a preseason game, a couple hours after the Raiders beat the Dolphins. So and there was 60,000 people there, and this was a great example for how that they can support, because I remember that me and you were talking about how can they support all these franchises. That was one of the questions that was posed to me from you. And each fan base has their own select set of fans. So soccer is huge in Southern Nevada. And when the minor league team, yet again another minor league team, the Las Vegas Lights, they sell out Cashman at 10,000, 9 to 10,000.
Nice job.
And they have tremendous promotions. They do
Llamas?
it really well. Yeah. Yep. You know, they throw money out there for people to grab on the field. If you're lucky enough to get out there, you know what I mean? They blow money out there, and if you can catch it, you can keep it. You know, I mean, everybody likes money. So, I mean,
get me
I
to
think
a soccer game.
absolutely. I think it's supported each individually because you have a lot of different fans in Vegas. Everybody likes something different. The one sport and the one team that's getting left out of this, and it's probably because of the way they've played over the past 10 years, is UNLV basketball. They will be dust if they don't put a good product out on the court. And I feel that you have the right man at the helm now to make those decisions. But UNLV needs to pick it up because you have the Knights and the Raiders and more coming.
Did you hear that? New England Revolution. That's all you got to do to get Paul out to a game is blow money on the field.
That's right. Politics.
Well,
So-
I got a little.
What do you I as an outsider, as a northerner in Canada, I suppose I'm skeptical of the baseball and the soccer portion of this whole plan. So how much of a factor is the weather in all of this, right? Like when the Raiders built their with their big giant Darth Vader helmet, right? Climate controlled. You know, maybe Major League Baseball builds something not entirely different from like what Arizona would have or something like that.
Right.
But I can't see Major League Soccer doing the full on, dome or whatever. What factor does the weather in Vegas play, you think?
Well, me and the wife really want to move to Canada because it's cold, and in Vegas it's 115. It's 115 in the shade
At night.
and sometimes it goes down to 100, after midnight, which is really, really nice. You're going to need to have a retractable roof. That's the one thing that Mark Davis missed on. There's that big glass roof, and it's really beautiful. However, there cannot be an NHL outdoor game played in that stadium, which is a shame because you could fit 70,000 plus because it doesn't have a retractable roof. NHL Outdoor Stadium Series needs to have outdoor or retractable. So Mark Davis missed on that. That's the one thing. He couldn't get enough money because it was going to be millions more. And when you're already taking 750 million public, which is casino tax, and everything else that was being spent, you weren't going to get that. But baseball and soccer are going to need retractables because if they're going to play in 110 to 115, you're going to have some shade. And I don't think it's debatable at all.
Yeah, I could tell you this from experience. And it's a good trivia question. Where was my first CFL game? Las Vegas, 1994. And you're right. They would move the start times from 7 to 8, hoping that it will cool down. It never did. It was 110 degrees, and you might have had about 500 to 1,000 people watching the Las Vegas Posse play football.
I remember that.
At good old Silver Sam Boyd
at the
Stadium.
Silver Bowl, Sam Boyd Stadium. That's right.
And they had I think it was a rookie, Anthony Cavillo, who went on to become a Canadian Football League legend. That's, I think, where he got his start at. So it's amazing where Las Vegas has come from, a city where let's stick all these like random football teams and indoor football teams, and now they could be close to having 4 teams pretty soon. But how serious do you think the Oakland A's are of leaving the Bay Area to come to Vegas, or is that just a ploy to get something up there?
Serious. They're serious. Whether it pans out is a whole nother ballgame. The Arizona Diamondbacks flirted with Henderson, which is a Vegas suburb, a few years ago, and I think that was more than what people really knew. It was a little blip, but it made it so that there was potential. Henderson is one of the sites that the Oakland A's are looking at. And the Silver Knights, which is the Golden Knights AHL franchise, is in Henderson. The Bill Foley's also bringing in an arena football league, IFL league. The
Nighthawks or something they're called.
Yeah, they're going to be called the Nighthawks. Yeah. Also, the WNBA team has a practice facility out there. The Raiders practice facility is out there. Henderson is making a name for itself. It's not just one of the best places to retire. It's not one of the best places to live in Nevada. It's not only is it that, it's more. It's becoming, kind of sports, that little corner that Vegas wants to put its practice facilities and other. And I think that the mayor, her name is Deborah March, she's a player in this game. I think the A's are serious. That ballpark in Howard Terminal in Oakland is not going to happen the way it is now. The A's want something much more than the city is willing to give. And that is a rinse and repeat story from the Raiders. They tried to offer them the Coliseum site, both teams. Nobody wants that site. With all due respect, nobody wants that site. What they want is something new on the water in Northern California. Walkable. Yeah. Right. And also sustainable to where you have dining, shopping, living, everything. They want to make it, they want to be the Bay Area besides the Giants. They want to be Oakland's team because everybody else left. Now, that's not suspicious to me because the city council and everybody in Northern California, they don't want professional sports. It's very obvious. They sent the Warriors to San Francisco. They sent the Raiders to Vegas, and they're on the verge of losing their last professional major sports team because they're selfish, and they're going to hurt a generation of fans because of their selfishness. And Vegas is going to cash in yet again if they don't wake up. So it's completely doable. This whole thing is real because they've been here 6 times. They're planning more. They have sites. They have investors who haven't been named yet. This is the real deal. I mean, I don't know if they keep the name. I don't care what they call them. I mean, they could be on their way to Vegas.
I would hope they keep the name. That's a over 100 years
made it through Philly, Kansas City, Oakland.
Yeah. True.
The ghost of Connie Mack would haunt them if they changed the name.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you got to look at it like, I mean, Vegas is just so different, right? Like, I mean, Oakland doesn't have, 4 million tourists coming in, dropping $1 billion a year. I totally get it. Like, if you're a resident of Oakland, are you, and the prices for stadiums now are they're just like ridiculous. Like, we're going to talk about, Tampa and Montreal later.
Another story.
Do you think Montreal is going to drop $1 billion on a stadium for a team that's going to show up, 40 times a year? Like, I don't see that. I mean, that's probably, to me, that's why, Vegas has this advantage, is that it's not just a tourist destination, it's the tourist destination. Right. And they can say, oh, well, we'll throw an extra penny on your, penny casino tax or whatever.
Right. It's like 8%. It's honestly, it's nothing. Everybody in Nevada made such a big deal about it, saying that the locals were going to pay for it. Not one local has paid for that. Now, there are other things that they might end up paying for, like parking structures and all kinds of stuff. But the stadium itself was $750 million in a casino tax, which I think it was like 0.8. I mean, it's like $2 a night. I mean, you're already paying resort fees, which is 35 to 40 or more, on top of tax, on top of that. Nobody notices. And, you see them 60,000 plus. I mean, it's paying for itself. It's going to continue to as well. I wanted to give you a little bit of a hot take on that Montreal Tampa situation.
Go for it.
I think in a couple years, I think the Rays move to Montreal full time. I think the Expos are coming back. That's my hot take. And I say that because the lease at Tropicana Field, or whatever they're calling it nowadays, They should just call it pop, fly, hit the roof, is what they should call it. Montreal wants a team. They almost lost the Expos to Vegas. Vegas was one of the finalists, and they ended up going to DC.
Really?
But,
Didn't know that.
Yeah, Vegas was one of the finalists. It was just too soon. It wasn't going to happen. It was still, Vegas was still a dirty secret at that point. But I think that when Tampa's lease ends in a couple years down there in South Florida, there's no way they're splitting time there for years. No way. This is cute right now, but this is not going to work. And I feel like they end up moving to Montreal 4 or 5 years, if that, down the road. I think that's the only problem that people don't know.
The only problem is it's not a couple of years; it's like 6, right? The lease is 2028.
Gotcha.
And the mayor and the mayor of St. Pete's has played hardball the whole time, even to the point where they can't even look at moving to Tampa. Forget Montreal. They can't look at Tampa.
Right. They can't commit to one location.
Right.
So you talk a lot about the Vegas Golden Knights, being a Canadian and totally immersed in hockey, I guess. And I can say that I have been to 22 NHL locations, and I blew the guys away here when I had Vegas number 2 on my list as like best experience, and that includes like all the original 6, the Boston Bruins, the New Jersey Devils, the Flyers.
Bruins are at the top of my list.
So one of the things that I saw was that Vegas, the Golden Knights did Vegas. They made it a show. Do you see this spreading across this sort of Vegas style presentation pregame? Do you see that spreading across the NHL? And if so, what do the Golden Knights have to do to either maintain or step up?
I think that Seattle will have something similar, and I think that that's because they came after. I don't think any of the NHL teams, the 30 that were before Vegas, I don't think that they get into this. And the reason being, there is a little bit of – now, the show that they put on in Vegas for the Golden Knights is fantastic. The atmosphere is fantastic. Any player that you talk to across the league loves playing in that building, hates playing in that building, but loves playing in that building because from a player atmosphere standpoint. But it's perceived, and it was perceived this way in the conference final against the Canadiens, the show that Vegas put on, and they didn't put the product on the ice that matched the show, and they got their behinds whooped, while the Canadiens put on a simpler product pregame wise, and then put a backside whipping on the Knights. Basically, there was a lot of perception of, we don't need the glitz and the glamour. We can just put the puck on the ice and play the game, introduce the players and sing the anthems and have a nice day. And so I think across the league, Vegas is the 3rd most hated franchise already behind Boston and Toronto. 3rd.
Boston.
In 4 years.
Everybody hates Boston everything. Come on, Paul, get on it.
So I think it's Toronto 1 and Boston 2 and Vegas 3. So in 4 years and 1 preseason game, they've decided that they're going to hate the Golden Knights top 3. And that's why I think you're not really going to see a wave of the glitz and the glamour and the pregame shows. I think that what teams have, they have. And if they want to do a little bit of adjusting, they will. Vegas is going to keep doing Vegas because that's what they've always done. They're going to have, the festivities. And for me, it's heart-stopping. There's nothing like it when you hear them pound, when you hear the Knight pound on his shield and all the fans say, "Go Knights, go," until that's all you hear. And they do that for a couple minutes. And then the gentleman who also does Raider games, who's the MC at the Golden Knights games, he proceeds to get the crowd just off their chairs. And he's fantastic. I don't think there's anything else like it, and you can't duplicate it. It's fantastic. I don't think that you're going to see many people do it either.
Do the Raiders do anything like that? I know they've only had fans in for 1 or 2 games, but
so the same guy does the Raiders, that does the Golden Knights, like I mentioned, and basically they light the torch, the Al Davis torch. They light the former governor of Nevada, Brian Sandoval, did it. There's been a few people to do it. They introduced the Raiders, and it's loud. It's 60,000 plus loud. It's hard to duplicate in a bigger environment like you can. And, it's T-Mobile Arena when there's only 18,500. But from what I've seen at Allegiant Stadium, they've got a tremendous atmosphere, and it's probably already one of the best in the NFL, if not the best, because it's new, it's shiny. Raider fans are unlike any other. They're very specific. They will, as you've probably heard and seen on news reports, they will kill you in the stands if you have a problem with their team. So I think it's going to be one of the best environments in the NFL for a long time.
It's nice to see the Raiders at an actual football stadium after 50 plus years, 55, 54,
That's
5 years
point.
playing at the multi-purpose stadium.
No kidding, huh?
It is weird. It is really weird. Oh my God, they're not in Oakland anymore. There's not the baseball diamond. There's not Mount Davis.
Yep.
And so I'm happy they finally got their stadium, and the A's may be next in Las Vegas, which never saw that coming. You told me that about a few years ago.
I think you're missing that blip where they played in the actual football stadium in Los Angeles.
Yeah, for 13 years at the Coliseum.
Yeah.
You're right.
You're right.
For a
Recent
short
memory.
time.
Yeah, you're right. They did play in LA. You're right. They won a Super Bowl there.
Hey, you ask those guys. Ask Snoop Dogg and Ice Cube.
Ice Cube.
They were
You're
never Oakland Raiders. They were always
Marcus
Allen.
Marcus Allen.
Yeah. Did the Black Hole and those crazies make it over to Vegas too, or?
They did, and they're probably and they're usually drunk by game time. But I think
It's like
that's
Buffalo,
probably a
but
good
hotter.
Geez, the last time I was in Vegas, I think it was maybe 2008. So I'm trying to compare the sports landscape we're talking about right now to what was there when I last visited Vegas. So you had the 51s playing at Cashman Field,
Right.
and then you had the ECHLs, or was it the Western League at that point? We had the Wranglers.
Wranglers,
played at
yeah,
Orleans Arena.
ECHL. Yep.
And that was it. And then you had UNLV, who were kings of Vegas back then. So I know you mentioned that the Running Rebels are close to your heart.
They are.
So what's going on in terms of Vegas and their facilities and their plans going forward?
So, like I mentioned, Thomas and Mack Center's a 38-year-old building. It's going to be 38 in November. And nothing I've heard that's concrete on getting UNLV out of there. That's going to need to happen at some point. UNLV hasn't made the NCAA tournament since 2013. They have had 5 coaches in the past 10 years. They are working on their new coach, who is the son of a legend, in my opinion. His name is Kevin Kruger. That's Lon Kruger's son. And Lon Kruger retired from Oklahoma, and he lives in Vegas. He lives in Henderson, and he's at practice. He's not on the staff, but he's there. And Kevin brought Carlin Hartman, which was Lon's top assistant at OU, to Vegas. He's got a good staff. He's got a solid foundation. I think that this team has the chance to be the best team that they've had. NIT is perfectly acceptable, and I think should be celebrated because of what this school has done lately. UNLV is the Running Rebels. They are Vegas. They always will be, and they need to put butts in seats. And I think they have the chemistry in the program right now. I think they have everything to do so. They need a full Thomas and Mack, or they don't stand a chance.
And does that does that worry you as a fan? Like, I mean, now you're talking about competition for them, right?
Yeah.
And you've got the football rebels who are, squatting in the new stadium. I don't know. They're there, but
they don't deserve it. I can tell you that.
I can't imagine how many people would be at one of those games. It might be a little scary. You get like 10,000 in the 70,000 seat stadium. But yeah, you're going to have the Raiders to compete with. You're going to have the Golden Knights to compete with. You're going to have everything else that's already there to compete with. Plus, whoever's coming in the WNBA are they there already, or are they coming?
They are the Aces.
They're already there.
The Aces are one of the better franchises in the league as well.
They are, and Mark Davis owns them too.
Okay, and if they, NBA, I mean, I see that one. I see that happening before the others. Like, do the Rebels like stand a chance? And add to that they're not exactly in the most prestigious conference.
No, they are not, and they can't do much with that. They can't play with San Diego State right now. They can't play with the Utah States. They can't play with the school in their own state that continues to beat them, Nevada, UNR, Reno, however you want to address them. That's a big battle in Southern Nevada, how you address UNR people. Like I'm a little bit more even keeled because I do a little bit of reporting for the Mountain West Wire basketball season wise. They are Nevada. They are Nevada because they play better than any other school in Nevada. And by that, I mean they play better than UNLV. When UNLV beats, Reno, Nevada, when they beat them, consistently, we can have a different conversation. UNLV fans are very difficult to sometimes to reason with. The fact of the matter is, if this university as a whole, because they have the facilities, they have the Mendenhall Center, which sits right next to the Thomas and Mack Center, and the Cox Pavilion in the same parking lot, which is their practice facility, one of the best facilities in the country. Allegiant Stadium, one of the best facilities in the country. The Mendenhall Center is where UNLV basketball practices. Also, UNLV football got a new facility as well, which was a lot of money was raised for that by ex-UNLV football coach Tony Sanchez and then some other people in town. UNLV has some of the best facilities around. Their Pac-12 material, they could be, if the Pac-12 expands, I would look to Las Vegas first. However, the town is all well and good, but the university is I'm sorry, it's not good. UNLV, and it breaks my heart, will cease to exist. They'll just be dust if they do not win. That is what UNLV has to do in basketball. All you got to do is win. Vegas likes a winner. Put a winner out there, you stand a chance. I want to mention something about UNLV football. They played against Iowa State like a week and a half ago, and there was 35,000 people at the game. And that was amazing, right? You think 35,000 people. 28,000 people were from Ames, Iowa.
That's got to be a big plus for putting a team in any league in Vegas is you're going to get a lot of visiting fans. So
always
has that. I was going to say, has that been, once I said the sentence, I realized, oh yeah, probably. So has that really affected the home field advantage for, like, say, the Golden Knights?
The Golden Knights in year one for the Golden Knights, you were able to get tickets off of a ticket exchange. Many different websites, you were able to score tickets. Starting from year two on, they changed their policies. Now, visiting fans are able to get tickets, but they're not able to get thousands like they were. So in Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals between the Capitals and the Golden Knights in 2018, all the Vegas fans gave their tickets away. They sold them to Capital fans because they didn't want to be there when the Capitals won the Cup. And I say, suck it up. Suck it up, Buttercup. You guys had a fantastic season and have no reason to be ashamed. You should see the Stanley Cup raised by whoever wins the Stanley Cup. That series still bothers me to this day because the Knights have not been back. And I felt like after game one of that series, they were the better team. Barry Trotz is a tremendous preparer, and he also is really great at moving people in pieces. He's one of the best head coaches in the league and probably top 10 or 15 ever. And he made adjustments. Gerard Gallant didn't, and that's what it came down to. But going back to what you were saying, fans can get tickets, but it's not easy because Vegas is hot and hometown people want to go.
Well, you guys are heading in the right direction. You got former Kitchener Ranger head coach Peter DeBoer. You've got Nicholas Haig, who went to school like down the road from me. So, the Kitchener connection is strong with Vegas. I think Steve Spott is an assistant coach there.
He is.
Who is also a former Kitchener Ranger coach. So
he is.
We're helping you out down there.
I mean, Steve has been good for Pete DeBoer. They've known each other.
When Pete DeBoer was the head coach of the Rangers here, his assistant was Steve Spott.
I mean, that guy has been with Pete for a long time. I mean, I think that Pete DeBoer was the right man at the time when they decided to fire Gerard Gallant, which was a big deal. I know exactly. Everybody exactly knows where they were, and it was a shock to let Gerard Gallant go after 2.5 years, and it rubs a lot of people wrong. Like I said, it rubs my co-hosts wrong, and so that comes up every now and then. It's extremely entertaining when we get into Marc-Andre Fleury debates, which is fresh. When we get into Gerard Gallant debates, when you give away Ryan Reeves for nothing but a third-round pick and you dump Marc-Andre Fleury for cap space. I think that the Golden Knights have rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Fans, some of the people that work in the organization, and players. That's the reason why they're probably number 3 hated in the league. And it's at some point you're going to wonder. There's been a lot of turnover in the organization. I think 13, some odd number like that, organizational people that don't play hockey have changed hands over the last year and a half. And it's a trend, and it's not a good one. And I feel like Pete DeBoer is the right guy to lead them there. This will be his first season, full season, without any COVID issues, without having a half season because he had just came on, or having a shortened season because of everything going on. So I think that they've got a good squad. I don't feel like they've upgraded in the bottom 6. That's my opinion. I don't feel like Dodonov. I don't feel like Brett Howden. I don't feel like those guys are going to win you. I don't think that's going to win you something. You gave, Reeves might have been an enforcer and he took himself out of plays, but he also was a tone setter. You knew he was there. You weren't going to mess. You're not going to mess with my guys because I'm on the ice. And now he's gone. And I think that they've spent a little bit of money goaltending-wise getting rid of Marc-Andre Fleury and bringing Laurent Brossoit. And I don't think Brossoit is the answer. He's going to be on the ice for the Golden Knights. He's going to be on the ice for them shortly in their preseason game at T-Mobile Arena against the Avalanche. Robin Lehner, I don't think is going to stay healthy. He's lost a ton of weight. He looks fantastic. He's been standing on his head in practice, and that's well and good. But I don't think that Robin Lehner is the guy. I think that they should have kept Marc-Andre Fleury. I think they should have either never gotten Robin Lehner or gotten rid of Robin Lehner and used Logan Thompson, who was the best goalie in the AHL last year. He was the equivalent of the Vezina winner in the American Hockey League. You should have had him, tutor under Marc-Andre Fleury and passed it to him when Fleury was done. That's what you should have done, because what you did doesn't seem like a championship winning team to me. I'm harsh and I'm honest, and a lot of people don't like it in Vegas and their other, but people listen to the show. And so that's, and they leave me comments. They leave us comments. They absolutely either love it or hate it, but they do have an opinion and they are listening. And that's where we are on Vegas.
Do you think the fans out there were spoiled and maybe have some unrealistic expectations because you started at the top? I mean, like, look at the Capitals, for instance, who struggled for years and years.
Right.
Or the Islanders. But Vegas, man, there was nowhere to go but down.
Well, I mean, Vegas was handed they were handed a whole bunch of Pieces. They were handed a whole bunch of guys with chips on their shoulders who people didn't want. They were handed James Neal. They were handed David Perron. They were handed Pierre-Edouard Bellemare. They were handed Marc-Andre Fleury. They were handed Eric Holla. They were handed pieces. And these guys were like, you know what? Forget this. Let's go out and shock the world. And they did. And the fans in Vegas have unreal expectations.
Yeah.
But expectations that the organization set. The organization set those expectations. So the fans should not be to blame. What should be to blame is the way that the NHL, was trending, because the last time they had an expansion draft before Vegas, they had Columbus and Minnesota come in 2000, right? So the cap was so much lower. The rules were so much different. Nobody catered the rules to Vegas. Vegas wasn't handed a championship team. They were handed a whole bunch of pieces, and they made it work. In doing that, the expectations have gotten up there to where the Knights are supposed to win the Stanley Cup or be in the Stanley Cup every year. And when they're not, it's a disappointment. The last 2 years have been a disappointment because their power play and their offense and everything has gone lights out at the worst possible time. They were a better team than Montreal, and they were a better team than Dallas the year before. And they lost to both, and they didn't deserve to win. And they deserved, in this league, you get exactly what you deserve when you play like trash. And they did. And I'm harsh, but it's true.
And boy, did the NHL GMs learn their lesson with the Seattle expansion draft, huh? Woo.
Seattle got a bunch of nice pieces, but they didn't get everything that Vegas got. No, they got nice pieces, but nowhere near. And I think that, bold prediction, I think the Kraken make the playoffs. I think that they are one of the 3 best teams in the Pacific. They are. It's Vegas, it's Seattle, and then it's whoever sneaks in there.
We have to forget that it's also Dave Haxtell.
It is Dave Haxtell, and that was a surprise for me. I thought Seattle should have hired Gerard Gallant. I thought Gerard Gallant knows exactly what he's doing expansion-wise. Hire the man, and it would have made so much. It would have been so how apropos, right? Like he does what he does in Vegas, and he takes another Seattle, expansion team in Seattle. I think Dave Haxtell was a surprise, but Dave Haxtell's been a hockey dude for a long time, so they're in good hands. It wasn't, number one choice, but I think that they've got all the pieces to make a run, and they should not be counted out at all.
Mark, you had something?
Yeah, my last question is, let's say the big 4, let's say the big 5, MLS, all get there. Will we see some of these minor league teams go away? Like USL Championship Lights, will we see the Aviators? Will it become a professional town? No more minor league sports?
I think the Lights are gone right away. Okay. I think that's gone right away. And I think the reason was there's an agreement that if MLS – so there's a couple of different groups that are bidding to get the MLS to Vegas. One of them is Bill Foley, who owns the Golden Knights and is in love with the word Knights, apparently. Yes. So if the MLS goes with the ownership group that is not Bill Foley, I believe that they are attached to the Lights. The Lights would give up they'd cease to exist. They'd fold. Okay. And that would be pretty immediate. I mean, if not right away, it would be right thereafter. I think that the Aviators stay, and I believe they stay because it's kind of like a Silver Knights situation. It's a minor league affiliate right there.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. If you need a guy,
you get on the phone and you say,
Stadium.
I need a guy. And he's across town. That's what makes it so wonderful. Vegas, their affiliate was in Chicago for 2 years. Now that they have him across town, it's perfect for the Golden Knights, and it would work the same for Major League Baseball. I think the Lights are gone. Bill Foley's trying to bring in some indoor football league team. I think they stick around for a little while. Minor league sports in Vegas should eventually cease to exist when you have major, but it's a process.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a little bit indoor football can be fleeting. Some markets it can do well, just depends how you promote it and how much money.
Vegas tried it twice with the Sting and the Gladiators, and it went kaplunk twice.
Well, they actually did it 3 times. I think Vince Neil had a team for a year.
Did he really? Because I remember that there was the Sting and the Gladiators. Yeah, you know what? You're right. I think that they went. So the Outlaws was the original XFL team, and then Vince Neil tried it again. That Outlaw was so bad, I forgot about it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think they were the Outlaws. They were bad. It was a disaster. The Sting and the Gladiators, who played in New Jersey, I used to cover them when I was out there.
Yep,
those are success stories compared to what Vince Neil's operate. Yeah. Oh, it's exciting though. It's amazing how we're here 2021 talking about Major League Sports going to Vegas, and I can remember 20 years ago, 25. It was minor league. It was roller hockey. It was indoor arena football. So,
and I've been to them all, and I love them all because it was all you had in Vegas in the 90s, in the late 90s, early 2000s. What you had, you liked. So it was the Las Vegas Coyotes. They were a roller hockey team that played at Santa Fe Hotel and Casino. My mom and I were season ticket holders. It was UNLV football at Sam Boyd Stadium. It was the Wranglers. It was the Las Vegas Thunder, the original IHL team that played at the Thomas and Mack.
I went to a few of those games myself.
Yep. It was the Dust Devils that played indoor soccer.
Continental Indoor Soccer League.
Right.
And they won the championship in '94.
They did, and I was
Nobody
6 years old. Yep. Nobody gave a crap.
Nobody cared.
You liked everything because it was your own, and it was news. The sports segment on the news was loaded with minor league headlines and UNLV, and that blip that a professional team took a look. That was it.
Yeah. All right. Las Vegas has grown up, hasn't it?
Las Vegas is here and ready to play and ready to stay.
Ready to play. Well, it's about time.
Dave, do you have anything else? One question I had for you, Jason. We mentioned that for the sports that aren't the major league sports that are not in Vegas yet, it's looking like MLB, it's looking like the A's. MLS, you said, is most likely an expansion team. Mm-hmm. If the NBA comes to town, is that going to be a franchise moving, do you think, or will that be an expansion team?
You know, that's a really interesting question. You know what intrigues me about the NBA is the Timberwolves were just sold to Alex Rodriguez and his group. I don't think they're staying in Minnesota. I don't know if they're moving to Vegas. Seattle is going to get the Sonics back. That is
they better.
What's going to happen is they're going to get 2 Western Conference teams, Vegas and Seattle, and they're going to move like Memphis to the East. So the conferences are 16 and 16. They need 2 teams to do it. The Sonics are going to get their team back, and like you said, they better. And Vegas is going to get their team. I don't know if Minnesota moves or another organization moves, but if they move, they could change their name from the Wolves to something desert-like. I know that, like the Coyotes, like something like that, they could keep it as the Wolves because there are wolves in the desert. I mean, it's got a little bit of a ring to it. The NBA wants to expand. They want that money, and it's probably going to be between $600 and $800 million expansion fee, and someone's ready to pay it.
I think that there's just too much money in Vegas for the NBA to allow a team to just move there. I think that they've got to be looking at Vegas going, expansion.
You're probably right. You're probably right. I think Seattle might be the mover. That might be the team that moves.
Yeah, and you think how NBA players pick where they're going to play based on destination. Holy cow, Vegas would have a leg up on everybody else, wouldn't they?
I think so too. I mean, LeBron James kid, he's going to be playing soon. I mean, I think we got a shot. So.
Well, all right, Jason, we want to thank you really very much. This has been a great discussion, and like Mark said earlier, who thought we would be talking about Las Vegas as a major league city?
Not me. Not me ever.
No.
It's been great.
No.
Do you want, before we let you go, do you want to take a minute and promote your your podcast and your social media presence? Anything you want to advertise? We'll give you
absolutely, guys. Each one of you, I appreciate you guys having me on. I'll come on anytime you want. Our show is the Vegas Fever Podcast. Catch us on Twitter at Vegas Fever Pod. Subscribe. Send some comments, send some likes. We do a show. We try with the hockey season, back in session, basically in the basketball season coming back. We'll probably do a show once a week. During the summer, it was more like once every couple weeks. But yeah, my wife is her name is Paula, and she is at The Golden Wife, and we have another show that we do from that Twitter account. It's called The Golden Line. It's more of a what's going on in today's world type of discussion. It's different from sports, but it's both of us, and we have one episode out. We're working on more. We just appreciate everybody. I appreciate each one of you guys for having us on. And anytime you want to come back, anything I could do, need any Vegas insight input, don't hesitate. I'll be here.
So that's all the time we have for tonight. Thanks everyone out there for watching or listening. And thanks again to Jayson Williams from the Vegas Fever Podcast for joining us tonight. It's a great discussion and so much I didn't know about Vegas. I just thought, it was strippers and gambling and stuff. No.
Prostitution.
Yeah. Have you guys been to Vegas? How about all those guys on the street with the cards?
It's also stripping and prostitutes.
Oh, okay. Hey, just more reasons to go. Now you can do sports too. You can do it all. All right. So, like I said, that's where we'll finish off tonight. Talking about prostitutes.
You do them
strippers.
all.
Yes. Yeah. Ooh, you got the money, I guess. Dan, where can our listeners follow you online?
Hiding from my wife at DanLaw83.
After that comment, no doubt.
No, she's thank God.
Mark, where can our listeners follow you online?
Ballpark Hunter on YouTube and Instagram and Twitter.
Dave, how about you? Where can our listeners follow you online?
Twitter and Instagram at ProFan9.
And you can find me on Twitter or Instagram at PuckmanRI. Remember to check out the mothership, the website, stadiumjourney.com for all of our stadium reviews, news items, and feature stories. Connect with us on our social media channels. You can find us at Stadium Journey. Like, comment, share. You can find the audio versions of the Stadium Journey podcast by searching on your podcast aggregator, HIAC Talk Radio Network. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're everywhere. Video simulcasts, find them on Stadium Journey's YouTube page, and find our classic old episodes of the Stadium Journey podcast at vocnation.com. We stream live every other Tuesday night at 8 Eastern at twitch.tv/DanLaw83. Dan advertises when we're going to be live all over the place, so pay attention. For all of those of you who are watching our live stream, I guess you're not watching our live stream tonight. So never mind. We're going to jump into doing our trip recaps. If you're not watching, we can't broadcast live tonight, so never mind. Anyway, join us for our next new episode in 2 weeks. We will be joined by our old friend, Mike Hogan. We'll be talking about the Canadian Football League. No, I thought that was in 2 weeks.
Nope,
what is it,
that's
Dave?
4 weeks.
What's in 2 weeks?
Oh, yep. Sorry. No, you're right. My bad.
Sorry.
Mike Hogan in the Canadian Football League. That would be October 12th.
Well, the beginning of season 5.
Really? My contract ran out at the end of season 4. Am I going to be there?
Yeah.
My contract ran out at season 2.
We'll double your pay for the next year, Dan.
Oh boy.
We used to get paid big time.
Thanks everybody for your support. Thanks again to Jayson Williams for joining us. For Dan, Mark, and Dave, this is Paul wishing you all safe stadium journeys and close games on your travels. Hope to see you on the road again real soon.